What's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new, different kind of idea that we want to roll here for NASCAR 25. Mr. Gary Owen, also known as Gowen, is joining me here for a little content creator roundtable here, or I guess we call it Hot Things, or whatever that wing show is when they
Hot
go back and
things.
forth. Hot Things, yeah. So basically, we want to sit here and talk amongst ourselves, like just honest feedback and open-end discussion between two content creators about what we've seen so far of NASCAR 25. Now, by the time this is uploaded and everything, obviously you will all have seen that Gary and I had the amazing opportunity to get together with the iRacing developers and the NASCAR 25 team to get an early access look at NASCAR 25, some gameplay that only a few eyes got to see live in person right in front of us as it was playing. Once again, shout out to iRacing for the incredible opportunity for that. Really, really amazing experience. But Gary, you know, we're here just kind of talking about what we've seen so far of NASCAR 25. We got invited to see some really awesome gameplay, which was incredible. And now I guess you and I both kind of came together and thought it'd be a good idea for two content creators to come together and just kind of talk about what we've seen so far and kind of give our honest feedback about what we've seen and just have an open-ended discussion about it. So, I'll start with you, Gary. I mean, so far, um, give me your just straight into it right here. Like, what's your immediate feedback on NASCAR 25 so far from what we were able to see?
Optimism is kind of a feeling I have after what we saw. I mean, we got pretty well a full hour of gameplay on Monday afternoon, so we really got to see quite a bit of what the game has to offer. They also showed us like different series, different types of racing, which I think was really important. So I feel like you, myself, some other creators, we really got a proper idea of like what to properly expect for the game, and also want to say a big thank you to the iRacing Studios team for giving us this opportunity to bring to our communities. But I mean, I'm excited. We saw really promising things. I mean, there's some certain things as well that can be improved upon. Of course, we're going to talk about that in this video. But overall, I mean, I just, for the first time in several years, I came out of just like some kind of gameplay demo with like a smile on my face, being like, okay, like
Mm-hmm.
this team's passionate, we're going in the right direction, they are doing exactly what they need to be doing for the first base game from this studio. And I think that we are overall looking to be just in really good hands, which for you, for me, for all of us, I mean, and players, everybody, it's a really, I think, exciting time.
Yeah, I mean it's exciting for sure, and I think you nailed it right there. When you and I were both watching this gameplay that's playing in the background right now, I think you and I both kind of had that smile on our face, right? It wasn't like a super energetic, like, your team just had a walk-off home run for the World Series, but it was just that confident little smirk, that little
Yeah,
smile of like,
definitely.
oh yeah, like we're in for a good haul here. Like it's gonna be a fun journey here for the next couple of years. And I kind of put that into a tweet, and immediately everyone just assumed that I had an early copy of NASCAR
Yeah, everyone
25,
thinks
which
we've already played it.
I know. Hey guys, just to let y'all know, we definitely got an early copy of NASCAR 25. Fooled y'all. No, for real, guys. Like, seriously, I think Gary and I can even say, like, if we got an early copy of NASCAR 25, I'm pretty sure you guys would probably know by now if we got to play this game. Like,
Definitely.
seriously, we would love to. We would love to get our hands on NASCAR 25 early, but we're just happy to have this opportunity to like even get to be in a room to watch some gameplay that no one has seen before, which was a pretty cool experience. But yeah, you kind of mentioned just having that smile on your face a little bit when the gameplay was over, and I agree with you so much on that. Like, I'll admit when NASCAR 21 Redacted came out, I'm stealing a reference from you.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I was very excited for obvious
As was
reasons.
I.
We had lots of fun on NASCAR Heat 5. I was definitely on a huge momentum swing with just a lot of cool things going on. So, of course, I'm going to be optimistic and excited about a new NASCAR game because that's what at the time I was doing for my job. So, it was definitely a huge, huge letdown. And I think it really took our community back, a good 3-4 years. I mean, it was just a crazy, unfortunate ride. But you mentioned how the team we have now with Matt Lewis, Mike, all the guys that we got to talk to and everything, you can tell there is so much passion behind this project and behind what these guys were working on. And you can just tell just by the way these cars drive, the way they get into the corner, the atmosphere, the graphics, the way the cameras work. I mean, they really took a blend of everything we loved as NASCAR gamers and turned it into the perfect recipe for success for years to come. I mean, I when I watch this gameplay, I see a good mixture, of course, of iRacing, because it would be kind of foolish
Definitely.
if there was no iRacing to DNA in this game. But I mean, you also see some assets from the NASCAR Heat Series, which I think is a good
Definitely.
thing, because
Yep.
you could definitely see a lot of the menu setup and
Yep.
the settings, the sliders, and all that stuff. And that's great to have, because honestly, I know NASCAR Heat 5 wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but for what that team had for a budget and what they had for resources, it was a solid time, and it got the job done for the years we had. But you could see that DNA mixture of the NASCAR Heat Series when it comes to just settings and menus and just that clean, polished look, graphics, a mixture of iRacing as well as the driving. But the other thing I noticed too, which I don't know if maybe you noticed this, but I kind of got that vibe of some NASCAR the game inside line a little bit with the driving aspect. Like NASCAR 14, NASCAR 15, just with how much you really have to drive this car and
Oh
hold on
yeah.
to it.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like this ain't crank that slider to a 7 and just haul it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do that here.
Throttle control.
It's real. It's real. Like, throttle control, I can promise you guys, throttle control is like legit in this. Like, it is throttle control. Now, you could probably go to your settings, which I know the iRacing folks definitely teased us a little bit and showed us some of the settings. We were not going to be able to show you that today through this video. But you can tune so much with the settings on this game. I have never seen so many settings in a NASCAR game, let alone a sports game, in motorsports ever. I don't even know if Formula One has this many settings to tune your driving. It's crazy.
They got quite a bit in the F1 games for sure, but yeah, I mean, this is they really take it to a high level in NASCAR 25, and like not only driving but AI experience. Like they really went all in there with the settings and stuff. Like you know what I call this is, like you mentioned, like the team and their passion like for this project is like, this feels more like a passion project versus a business opportunity.
Yes.
These guys care about what they're doing, and you can tell immediately because of just the attention to detail that they're really putting into this game. I mean, right off the bat, like, remember the North Wilkesboro gameplay, you know, and all the races, you're going to be starting in the garage area. You got the haulers around you in practice.
Yep.
Like, that's something we don't ever have. I mean, NASCAR Ignition tried it. Yeah, you get that immersive experience. And on top of that, I mean, just those little things, if you remember when they were talking about the Wilkesboro gameplay and other tracks where they will only have, say, in the next-gen car, you're only going to be going into fourth gear, and they're not going to have that fifth gear. Like, those little things that you probably, casual players aren't going to think about, but it shows you how much they're paying attention and wanting to just create that immersion for the players. Just small little things like that that really make a world of a difference here. And obviously it proves to us they're going to hopefully continue to kind of pay that attention to those little fine details that, I mean, I feel like every NASCAR game previously has always failed to do.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the NASCAR license and what we've seen with NASCAR games in the past. You can tell there were definitely some good assets here, but there was just no delivery. There wasn't a proper delivery of what the NASCAR community needs. Like, I thought NASCAR 21 Redacted, you know, had some things that were definitely great, but the execution was not there. And it was more, to me, it just felt more like a business mission rather than a passion mission, like you talked about. And I agree with you completely. But, you know, we talked about like the passion, and you could tell what passion leads to, and passion leads to success. It leads to results. And I mean, right here, as I'm just personally watching like some of this North Wilkesboro gameplay under the lights here, you know, I mean, when I think about this gameplay, you can just tell, and I believe this was Mike who was driving the car as we were watching this. Like, now, granted, the AI is set to, I believe he said it was
100,
set to 100
right?
out of 105. Now, that's obviously a shared idea that NASCAR Heat provided, and I said it in my previous video. I thought the NASCAR Heat AI sliders was one of the best things it's ever did. It was a great way to set the AI to how you wanted it to be as a driver. How confident were you? What kind of experience were you looking for? And I mean, when you're watching the driving here, you can tell he's not driving it in here and just holding onto the throttle. He's trying to find that lane. He's got good entry. You can see the bumps in the track. Having him to like fight the wheel and keep that thing straight. And the AI is still pulling away from him in the corner. I mean, I saw 2-3 wide racing at North Wilkesboro, and that's not even with the AI being, I think, 100% polished the way they want it to be. To me, this just looks like we mentioned, a fun experience. Like, I don't expect myself to go in my first time ever playing NASCAR 25 and just pick it up and go win 5, 6, 7 races in a row on 105 difficulty. This actually looks like something you actually have to practice and learn and just understand what kind of racing craft you need to find that fits your type of driving style. And I feel like they really showed that to us yesterday with a track like North Wilkesboro, which on paper may seem pretty easy, but it's actually a very difficult track with lots of looseness to it, especially out of turn 4 that we watched yesterday. I was kind of fangirling a little bit, just kind of watching this gameplay, because I'm sitting here like, wow, okay, this isn't easy. This is actually like kind of challenging, but that's good to have that.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see, because I remember back to, I mean, I don't really count Ignition for anything, so I just always look back to the Heat series and how easy it was to just mash the throttle and go at any track pretty well. And I mean, it was, it made it so easy and frustrating at the same time, because as a player, we want to be challenged, especially when we are pretty good at the game at this point, right? So it looks like now, like throttle control, overdriving the corners, like all those things are really important to get right now. And I mean, you also like touched upon the AI, and in the North Wilkesboro clip, they're running at 100 difficulty, and they are hard to keep up with. And that's good, because there's going to be players like me, like you, and a lot of people that want a true challenge from the AI. And it looks like to me that if you're going to be competitive, you're going to have to actually run a custom setup. I look back to Heat 5, I can win races on a preset setup. I don't think that should be possible on 105 difficulty. But now it's like, okay, I'm going to need a full-blown custom setup. I'm going to have to fine-tune everything from wedge to track bar, brake bias, you name it, to be competitive, to work my way through the grid. And on top of that, I mean, you look at this clip of Wilkesboro, the AI, like, they're racing each other pretty hard. They're, of course, leaving room, but they don't look stupid where they go up and run the wall and drop back several tenths a lap. They'll run up there here and there, but it's not like they don't look silly anymore. Like, I compare it a lot to Heat, because they kind of look like Heat AI a little bit, and they just look really refined right now. There's still some work to be done. I think that's pretty obvious, but I think they are really put a solid AI already experience together for this first base game. I know there's some critiques I do have that we'll see in some later clips of the super speedways and the road courses, but overall, I think that they have put together a really good baseline experience that immediately, for someone that's doing career mode or single player, like they're gonna have a really good time right off the bat with this first iteration from iRacing Studios.
Yeah, and you mentioned AI, and I think you and I both kind of knew going into this gameplay that AI was definitely going to be the biggest thing that was going to be the question mark of our time with iRacing Studios. Was just kind of seeing what kind of AI are we getting here, right? Are we getting the AI that's going to be just like, you're going to have to like kind of pump the brakes a little bit and make it seem more realistic fighting them, or they're actually going to challenge you, or they're just going to drive through you into the corner even though you shouldn't be driving into the corner like that, right? It's just, that was our biggest question mark going into this. But like you mentioned before, I was not expecting the AI to be the most brilliant, intelligent AI in racing history for gaming coming into this first year of NASCAR 25. But from what I saw, and like from North Wilkesboro, from Daytona, from Lime Rock, right? It's definitely not the worst AI I've seen. It's not the greatest AI I've seen, but it's not the worst AI I've seen. And I think it's good enough to the point where content creators like you, just casual gamers and competitive gamers like myself, are still going to have a really good time playing career mode and having fun and actually battling. Like, and I really feel like too here, once you kind of get to that middle of the pack, like 15th to 20th, and you start running into that top 10, I feel like that's where it's going to get more fun, right? That's where you're actually going to have some really crazy battles with guys like Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Carson Hocevar, if he doesn't put you in the wall. Sorry, I had to say that.
I hope he does.
I hope he does. Hey, you know what? If SVG kicks my butt at Sonoma, I will have a smile on my face. He better. That dude better not be running even in third place, okay? Unless there's a strategy change. But sorry, I had like a weird, that was like a weird laugh, cough, burp at the same time. It was such a weird, you can keep that in the audio. Uh but yeah, and we talked about the AI, right? But also a big part of AI is understanding how tire wear works, how the handle of the car works, how the driving works. And one thing I really did like was the optional menu that pops up on your HUD whenever you hit. I believe it was the circle button, or the square button. I can't remember which one they said. I'm a PlayStation guy. I think Xbox was the B button, but
Probably.
I remember vaguely seeing the tire pressures and seeing the aero, engine, oil temp, and radiator, and it's so clean. It's so clean. It's not too big. It's not taking up the menu too much, let alone with the track map as well, the lap counter, the position. You have such a wide amount of car and driving in front of you where the HUD isn't just taking over your entire screen. And I really appreciate that they did that, right? Because you can't just drive and have no info as you're driving, but it's the perfect amount. And I mean, one thing too, I even noticed as well, you can even hit request pit. So you can actually
Yes.
kind of like communicate with your crew chief in a way and get a pit stop all figured out here, which I think is a really nice touch. Now, I'm not sitting here and saying like, oh, if you have a microphone, you could talk to your crew chief. I don't think it works like that. Maybe in year 2 or 3, that'd be a really cool feature. But I really like how all the little things they're adding up here is really going to deliver you a proper racing experience for the first title from iRacing Studios for the NASCAR license.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the HUD. I mean, it looks good. It looks clean. I do think like the lap count and the position could maybe be a bit larger, but outside of that, like, I mean, they're kind of out of the way, and we can still focus in on just the racing part of the game. And you mentioned like the car status and all that looks very similar to like the Heat series, where you got the aero, the engine, oil temp, radiator, the tires, and whatnot. As well, like I'm paying attention to key things here. Like before I dive into the tire wear, because I did notice that. But the request pit stop is a really cool thing. We did ask if that maybe you don't request a pit stop in pit, would it slow your pit stop down? We didn't get an answer. But I feel like that is maybe a feature that is going to be kind of bare bones in this game, but I think that's probably, I get a feeling, something they're going to continue to expand upon with that request pit stop. But I also look at the tire wear. I was really paying attention to how much the tires are wearing, and like I just saw a clip of where actually Mike spun the car around, and the tires at that point though they were wearing quite a bit, down to like the 60% range on the right side.
He was killing that right
Yeah,
front. That right
but
front
that's
was
good
being
to
killed.
see that the tire
great to see
wear
that.
is falling. Now, one thing I didn't look at though was now that I'm watching the gameplay back, is we aren't seeing, and maybe it's in another info screen that they didn't pull up. That's my guess. Is I wanted to see what the lap time differences were as the tires are falling off. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that here, but I'm pretty sure there was an info screen where they do have lap times. But yeah,
I
I'm
will
very
say
curious
too.
about that.
I will say if you look on the HUD here, if you look on the HUD right here, right in front of the camera, the lap time.
Oh,
is
right on the
there.
dash.
It is right on the dash.
I didn't even
So let's
look at
see.
the dash.
I'm actually
Yeah.
gonna see if it changes here. Yeah, it does change. So actually, now that we mentioned that, if you actually go back just a little bit here, if we go to the very beginning of this race, I'm just looking right now at like lap 2 of him racing right here. Let's just say lap 2 of the race. He's gonna run a 19:25 for that lap. Now let's go to lap. I just picked a random lap. We're gonna go to lap 22 here of his run, and I'm just gonna
they're
see
falling
what his
off.
lap was, and he ran a 19:4 right there. So that's 2:10 slower than what he ran before. And now that I'm kind of going back and forth on the lap times a little bit, that was a good lap on his long run. He was running 19.6s, 19.7s, 19.8s, and everything. He ran a 20 flat the lap before he spun out into the corner. So tire fall off is definitely a thing in this game with the Cup car. I know we hear all the time how the tires don't have fall off with this car. It's a big issue with the real life of racing, and it adapts to here. Like, yeah, the tires don't fall off extremely like the old generations of cars and everything, but it is there, right? You are seeing that fall off, and I noticed too, with Mike driving here at this track, you can understand why that right front was burning a bunch, because the way he drives this track, he has a heavy drive into turn one and to turn number three, and that's what's losing his drive off the corner. So if you think about that, when you drive in hard and then you got to turn that car more, it's burning that right front more naturally. So yeah, realistic tire wear is definitely a thing here if you pay attention and look at it. So that's great to see.
I just like looking at it more as well. Like I'm comparing this a lot to, say, like our last proper game of Heat 5, where it was always your right sides would wear more. It was always the right rear going out first. And here I'm seeing completely different of the right front's the tire that's going first, what you would expect. And on the left sides, it's actually the left rear wearing more than the left front. So it's interesting to see the tire wear definitely is much different compared to like the last proper working NASCAR game that we had, which is great to see. And I really, really hope that honestly, it's hopefully a bit different than real life, where the tire wear and the lap times fall off even further than it does in real life, to make races more interesting and make fresh tires more of an advantage. But I mean, yeah, just watching the lap times fade, I mean, definitely, and this is something I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to originally until now, which is great because we're taking a more in-depth look since we have more time to kind of digest everything. It's just, yeah, cool seeing that once again, just little things like that that hopefully are going to continue to kind of build on the experiences that we have. And we know, of course, that's something they're going to continue to work on and improve upon in future iterations. So it's tire wear right off the bat. I like what I'm seeing there.
Yeah, and I really am liking what I'm seeing there. Now let's talk about something that you and I, we're not disliking it, but it's definitely an area that definitely seems to have a little bit more room to improve upon, and that could be the damage model and the crash physics.
Definitely.
That's something we definitely noticed in this gameplay that you guys have probably already seen in the videos by the time this is uploaded. But I think this is a good thing for Gary and I to do, is to talk about this. Right now, Gary and I are both racers, right? We're not people that just go. We don't just turn around and wreck the field, which I'm not gonna lie, is fun sometimes to do if you just want to goof off. And
we'll
all.
leave
I mean,
Michael Roots to do that.
Yeah, Micro Roots, that is definitely his field. I'll do that if I just feel like it and I'm having a bad day. Props to Micro Roots. Also, shout out to him. I heard you guys' YouTube channel back, which is
great
incredible.
News.
Little side note, but
guy.
Great news for a good guy. So happy to see that from Micro Roots, that you guys channel back. Happy for his community. But let's talk about this damage model, because there was definitely a clip in the North Wilkesboro gameplay that we can talk about for a minute, and it kind of leads on into the next track I want to talk about with you. Going to turn 3, Mike seems to overdrive the car a little bit, and he gets loose on the kind of approaching the exit of 4.
Yes.
He spins out and hits the inside wall. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with with the damage from this per se, because I mean, it's not like he's going 170 miles per hour into an inside wall. He gets a little loose, and we know how these next gens are. They don't really squish together, like a truck. Or
you need a really big impact.
Exactly. But I want to talk about how the crash just flows through. Okay, one thing I've noticed is the smoke that comes underneath from the car when it spins out, or even if there's a little contact, right? I'm not gonna lie, Gary, I had a little flashback to like NASCAR Heat Evolution, NASCAR Heat 2, when I saw the smoke pop up.
Yes, I said that in my video.
All right, yeah. So, okay, I'm not the crazy one. So,
no,
again,
it does not look great.
No. So again, that doesn't mean the game is not playable, everyone. Okay, I'm not sitting here
saying the world's not ending.
The world is not ending because there is smoke coming from a tire. Okay, that we're not saying that, but this is the point of this stuff, is to talk about it, right? Now, for people out there that aren't as competitive racers and want to just kick back and have a fun time and have a realistic crashing experience, I'm not going to say go play Beam NG, but you want good crash physics. You want those realistic feelings when you see an actual wreck happen, like you see on iRacing, right? I mean, iRacing has some of the most realistic, I guess you would say, like, scenes of how a wreck happens, right? I'm not going to say the wrecks are the most realistic wrecks in the world, but they look like a real wreck is happening. Now here, the smoke that's just popping up, the car just starts like spewing a bunch of smoke even when he gets like to a 15-degree angle on a
Yes.
short track, may I mind you. So I guess I'll ask you this, Gary. I mean, how concerned are you about that? Again, I'm not heavily concerned about it. I think this is definitely something that Matt and Mike and the whole team are aware of. I don't think they're just kind of putting it under the water and saying, we don't care about it. We're not going to fix it. I think it's something that would definitely be addressed, maybe not in NASCAR 25, but maybe in their next installment, whenever that may be. And when just kind of watching this clip again, it doesn't look like the wreck isn't realistic. He definitely got loose and just spun out. But I think it's the way the wreck transcribes and shows the smoke and how it all plays out, and the AI just checking up like insanely after the spin. I'm glad they didn't run him over. But what's your take on it? What's your take on the whole crash from what we saw?
Well, on the like smoke part, like there's a slight concern. If I was to rank it out of like a 10, I would put like a 2 out of 10 concern on that. Like it's something that needs to be addressed, but I'm not very concerned because it's an easy thing to address. But I mean, we see like, all the smoke there when he spins around, very illegitimate looking as well. Like I did see throughout the gameplay when there is player to car contact, just normal contact, like a lot of smoke, as you mentioned, spews out of the cars, very NASCAR Heat Evolution-esque. And that always, it's a little thing, but I remember back in the Heat Evolution days, that was something that I would always see, and I'm just like, oh, that just looks bad, and it always kind of threw me off for a few seconds. And it's kind of, unfortunately, I think that is probably one of the larger nitpicks from like this opening Wilkesboro part, is that kind of sequence of just like, oh, that looks a bit rough. But I mean, you mentioned like the rest of the crash AI, they do check up quite a large amount. You notice in the rear view mirror when they were going by, I saw it, like they go into like a ghost car, which is interesting. And then Blaney's car actually like stops on the racetrack. Obviously that won't really matter because the caution's out, nothing's gonna change there for like positions or anything, but it's just kind of those little things that just like you want to look better overall, right? So I think I mean, it's slightly concerning, but it's like at the same time I know that's something that is pretty easily manageable to get in a better spot. And we've seen, previously with the Heat series how much better that they got, and overall the spin itself looked pretty legitimate. He got loose exiting 4, he was too hard on the gas, he looped it around, like that looked pretty natural, I would say.
Very similar to iRacing, honestly.
Yes,
very similar to iRacing.
I worry about those things of like how natural wrecks might look. There's going to be a Daytona clip crash that we're going to talk about where I do have some problems with that one. But I mean, this one specifically, like, it looks like, you're probably being punished if you overdrive your car a little bit. And at least, outside of the smoke, it doesn't look stupid like the Heat series where you're ping-ponging off something. And, it looks a lot more natural and legit on the terms of, actually wrecking yourself here.
And again, that is something that is definitely fixable, but I don't think people want to see, someone spin out, like a caution comes out in career mode, and you just have every car behind you just go into ghost mode and like reappear. That's not.
What if an AI crashes in front of you and all the AI in front of you just stop, right? Like you're gonna be, you're not gonna react in that time. You're gonna be pile driving into them and probably damaging your car before the caution flies.
Yeah, and it's something that happened in a certain NASCAR game that I don't like talking about, where stuff like that ignition. Did. He dropped the name. But and listen, like I said, I don't think the iRacing guys are gonna let that happen. I think again, this isn't a final build. Maybe the AI was set to something where if a wreck happens, they turn to ghost mode. I don't know. I have no clue about that. But again, Gary and I would not be doing our jobs or wouldn't be doing our good services if we did not bring that up, right? We would we want to mention those things and talk about it. Another thing I want to talk about briefly here that was mentioned or shown in the Wilkesboro gameplay was the replay mode.
I got that up right now.
Yep. I'm looking at it right now. So looks great. No, and the replay mode looks phenomenal, guys. I mean, it really does. No bugs from what it looks like. Nothing out of the ordinary from this. It just looks like your normal, typical replay mode. I see a great opportunity for thumbnails, for clips, for everything you could possibly imagine. It is there. The only thing, and again, we're only going to talk about this for a minute because there's really nothing to talk about from the replay mode. I appreciate all the cameras they added. I appreciate all the abilities here. The only thing I was kind of disappointed about that was not added to the replay mode, but I hope it's added in a future installment or a patch, is being able to switch to a different driver.
Yes.
In the replay mode. Not only is that good for content creators, but I think just in general for someone who wants to play, who maybe wants to see, oh, why did the caution come out? Why did the caution come out with 14 to go? Like, and it was nowhere near me. You can always go back and just look, and that's just one of those things about the racing experience. It's like, oh, what was the caution? So you kind of have that aspect of how you're actually watching a race on TV. You want to know what happened, what's going on, how does that change the impact of the race, and what's going to happen next. So I guess having that ability is definitely huge. Again, it's not a game breaker for me, and it shouldn't be for you either. But I know a lot of people care about their replay mode, stuff like that, which is totally understandable. But I'm not super upset about it. But I know for someone like you, someone like me who tries to make YouTube videos, it's good to have that because, I mean, it's just good to know what's going on in your race.
Yes, I mean, and I utilize replay cameras a ton in my videos. For my position in the videos I make with career mode, the replay mode is also a story building component. So the replay mode is very important to me. Also, I think you mentioned it would be nice if we could spectate other cars. I would love that. The only other little small thing I noticed that was missing had great trackside cameras, had a good flag stand camera, but one little thing it was missing is it didn't have a proper cinematic camera following along, like a TV broadcast style camera. I think that's the only thing that I was like, oh, that should be there, and I was surprised it wasn't. But outside of that and then spectating other cars, I think are the first two things they should focus on in the future iterations. Outside of that, it ran well, it looked good, the trackside cameras were cool. I mean, not really much to say on it. It's a replay mode, and it does its purpose. So just those two little things, and I think outside of that, we come out of the replay mode in a really just solid spot.
Absolutely, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Now, let's jump ship to Daytona, Gary. I think this is
an interesting one.
This is an interesting one. Like, I really feel like Daytona is the most exciting gameplay, but it's also the most debatable gameplay.
Definitely.
There are some things we can definitely take away from this and say, yes, we are definitely in the money. And then there are some things that's like, oh, okay, like, definitely a little work on that, but it's not like it's not a game breaker, right? So, let's I'm just kind of skipping through here. I'm skipping the qualifying. Qualifying looks nice and smooth up into it, one lap and everything. No big deal. So I'm going right to the green flag here for stage number 1. And again, like we mentioned before, I mean, graphics look incredible. It looks great.
Yes.
It's very beautiful. Looks like you're literally playing iRacing in far chase camera. But nothing wrong with that though. But it's enhanced, looks really good. So we're coming to the green flag now. Race starts here, stage 1 of 3 laps in. So it's a really short race here. Now, Matt and Mike mentioned here during this race that many people have said for a long time, side draft doesn't really work on any of the console games. Well, it does work here. And after watching it kind of back and forth a little bit, I can confirm that side draft is a thing in this game on NASCAR 25. And you'll see it as the gameplay is playing. But, like I mentioned before, Gary, a lot of people were worried about the AI when it came to the big tracks. From the trailers we saw,
it looked
from
horrible.
The cinematic view, it looked really bad, and we were kind of worried about it. But you could tell that was from an early build, because just from watching this one alone, you could tell that there's really no need to be alert about the AI at plate racing here, at least for the Xfinity series. Looks great. 2x2. Same thing you would see on TV. You'll see as the race plays on that the AI actually makes some moves, makes some different bump drafting mechanics happen. There's just a lot of shuffling, which is good, though. That's what the Xfinity Series Play Package is all about, is being able to make those runs and create some runs and have a lot of shifting going on here. But what are you seeing so far, Gary, that you have your eyes on from Daytona?
Well, so obviously work to be done, but it is in what I said previously in my other video is it's in a solid position. It looks a lot more proper. You got, as you said, your 2x2, which is kind of what we come to expect when it comes to super speedways. But we do see the AI willing to make some 3 wide moves as well. There's a couple things such as there seems to be quite a bit of, at times, disorganization in the pack, and then they kind of come back together and they get it sorted out. So it seems to go back and forth a little bit. The bump drafting, I think, is the biggest thing that I look at. That's extremely cool, in my opinion. Is
I
now
love that.
when you hit a car in front of you, they actually go forward. I mean, we've had so many games where we just cannot bump draft an AI car forward, and vice versa. The AI runs into the back of you. You get a huge momentum shift, and this goes beyond single player. But I was thinking about, well, what about multiplayer and how crazy that's going to be with the momentum shifting around? That's going to be crazy, and I think that will honestly, I think that's going to be a moment where the multiplayer experience at super speedways will probably be better than the AI experience in single player. But my only other nitpick is, if you notice, say lap 1, turn 3, for example, and this could just come down to just pure AI settings that they have. But as Mike was drifting up the track towards the 25 of Harrison Burton, like Burton is going out of his own way to make sure there's no contact. Like he's drifting up 1, 2, 3 feet just to avoid contact. I didn't really like that. That actually reminds me a ton of like older iRacing AI, where you would kind of swerve at a car and then they would basically be willing to like wreck themselves to make sure you don't hit them. And that's kind of
succeed, basically.
yeah, go through and have it, go win the race, bud. And I didn't really care for that. But outside of that, like the AI, they need some work. They need to stay more organized. I think a little bit more 3 wide would be nice, but it's mainly 2x2. But it looks like a solid kind of foundation, which I feel like is kind of the common denominator for the entire game. Is we've got a solid foundation here, and I feel like the AI here is exactly like that. And I feel like as well they probably are still going to work on this for the launch. So yeah, I mean, it looks significantly better than what we saw a week or two ago with the trailer. They're continuing to make improvements, and I like what I see with that. I do have a big gripe about this race, but I'll save that for a few minutes because I'm sure you have something to say. So.
Yeah, no, just kind of following up on the whole bump drafting. I think that's a great point you made that I was going to bring up. I think the bump drafting, right, that little thing alone right there is going to make so many online players so happy, because
Absolutely.
I cannot tell you how many times in sloppy lobbies on NASCAR Heat 5, everybody wants to go to Talladega, everybody wants to go to Daytona, and you want to because it's like, yeah, play racing, great, everyone has a shot. Well, when everyone wants to just do the conga line on the bottom and you can't go at the top whatsoever and bump draft with anybody, that's a huge problem. And they definitely delivered on this. And when I saw that bump drafting happen, I said, oh my goodness, the plate racing lobbies are going to be so much fun now. They're going to be chaotic, but they're going to be fun.
Oh, dude, they're going to be wild.
They're going to be chaotic. But it's great to have that, though, right? And like, I've always talked about with sports games, you need replayability. That is a huge key component to having a successful sports game. And when it comes to motorsport games, if you deliver a good quality product offline that carries to online, your game is going to have no problem having a good life cycle. And that's what I think they're trying to deliver here in year one, is just to have that nice solid base of that offline experience, but making sure that the online experience will be fun as well. Now, we haven't seen a lot of online, obviously, so we're not going to talk about too much of that, but the bump drafting was huge. But yeah, I did notice Harrison Burton moving up there. And again, Matt did mention this a couple times, especially in the content creator with Jeff and Komoda Gaming and all of them, that Anthony Alfredo, that the AI has a lot of settings to where if you move up or try to hit one of them, they don't want to be in a wreck. And he may have had the AI set to that. I'm not going to sit here and say he did, because I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But if the AI was set to that, rest assured, no problem. If it wasn't, then, well, we don't want the AI to feel like that we want to win every single race. We want to have some chaos. We want to have some rubbing fenders at Daytona and Talladega. But I'm on with stage 2 right now. Really crazy transition from day to night there. I'm not going to lie.
Here's my gripe.
From stage 2. Now, could that be because the race is only 9 laps long? Could we see day to night transitions in the game? Okay, so that is confirmed that there is no day to night transitions.
Not happening.
Okay, not happening. All right. So I totally agree with your tiny little gripe right there.
This is a
The
big one.
track should, yeah, the track should definitely not go from day to night that quickly. If it did, I would have a huge concern that the world is ending. If that happened in real life. So hopefully iRacing notices that. Maybe hopefully we can get that adjusted here before the game launches, or at least in a patch where the lighting could be a little less dark, because it definitely should not turn that quickly there. So Gary, you can, I guess I'll let you kind of talk about that because I know you wanted to bring that up.
I am passionate about this, oddly enough. Um,
Nothing wrong with that.
now, here's a good sign that we've got a
Ooh,
good game
go,
is the
go
fact that
ahead.
I'm mad about this.
Go ahead. I saw something I want to bring up after this, but
Okay.
go ahead with what you were saying.
And this is the exact same format from the NASCAR Heat Series, where in between stages you get a transition of like day to sunset, from sunset to night, and is there anything wrong with it? Not necessarily, but this is 2025, brother. Okay, we have had proper day to night transitions not only in open world games but racing games as well for over 20 years at this point. And here we are in 2025 and we can only manage to do it in between stages. It's like a cutscene that changes the time of day. It's a good thing that this is one of my biggest gripes with the game so far, because it tells you I'm pretty happy with the game, but at the same time, this is so frustrating because it's like, as I hate to give NASCAR Ignition credit, they had proper day to night transitions. iRacing itself has proper day to night transitions, and we're just kind of going back to Heat, and I know. Personally, I know a lot of people like to compare this game. It's like, oh, it's a NASCAR Heat 6. But, I mean, it's a lot different. But obviously, something like this certainly feeds right into those people saying it's just another NASCAR Heat game, because this is something completely recycled from that game series. And it's a little thing, but it's just, yeah, it certainly frustrated me when we were watching live to see that transition. I was like, oh, God, not again. But, I mean, overall, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It's just something I'm like, yeah, I mean, we've had day to night transitions for decades. You guys can pull it off. So hopefully NASCAR 26, that's something we get.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with what you said right there about that. Like, if you're someone who wants to run endurance races, or, run the full Coke 600 or run the full Coke Zero, Sugar 400, etc., I don't think you want to end stage one with a nice, beautiful sunset, and as soon as stage two starts, it's complete, utter blackness.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't add to the realism and all that. Now, if what you're saying is true, that this is the same thing that's being used from the NASCAR Heat games and all that, again, nothing terrible doing that, but I think in the year of 2025, you hit a really good point. I think it's time for us to have an actual presentable day to night transition for a NASCAR racing game. If iRacing can do it with all the specs, all the graphics, everything needed to make that happen, I think we can get it done on a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox One Series X, let alone PC. Again, like they mentioned before, is this just one of those things that really wasn't focused on in year one, considering they just want to get the driving taken care of and get the base done? That could very well be the thing. But I hope it is definitely something that is up there on their board to make that day-to-night transition feel as realistic as possible, to give you that real racing experience being a driver in one of these cars in a night race, etc. So you raised a really good point about that. Now we're going to talk about the other thing. And now I know people might be watching this now and thinking, "Oh man, they're hating a bunch. They're hating a bunch." We're just being honest.
We think
we're
the
not
game's
hating.
really good.
We think the
I am
game is
very
really
excited
good
for this game, but there's certainly some things that are negatives of the game. But every game has that.
Every game has that. I mean, I could sit there and talk about all the negatives of Madden football every single year, but you don't see me doing that because it would be a 2-hour video. I'm going back to lap 2 of 3 on the back straightaway. Eric Amarola is about to give us a big push down the back straightaway, and Justin Allgaier is just in front of us. Now, this next 30 seconds of gameplay might be a pretty open-ended discussion here. If you notice when Almirola gives us the bump, you may notice Allgaier's rear bumper change. So take a look at Almirola here, watch the bump, and then bam, the whole back of the rear bumper caved in like Like Austin Hill just was slammed into Allgaier because he was mad at him. So damage just randomly popped up on Allgaier's car right there.
Yeah, I was going to
Again,
ask if you saw that.
I did notice that, and that's why I was telling you when you were talking about, oh wait, I got something here that you might want to talk about here. Could that be just a little bit of a bug? Could it be just
Probably.
a bug? It probably is a bug, but I don't know if like maybe Almirola's contact registered to the wrong car. Now that would be funny. I don't think it's that bad. Probably just a little error. You can even see right here too. Notice how the closer we get to Austin Hill, the graphics and the rendering of his car change. So it's not as detailed. And watch when we get a little bit closer and boom, the car changes. So again, don't know how old this build is. Don't exactly know what's going on there, but graphics wise, in the nighttime conditions in this Xfinity series at least, seems like it's not completely done. But now comes probably the biggest, I would
The
say
right
the
hook.
biggest. Yeah, the right hook. That might be the title of my video. The right hook heard around the world. So now Matt and Mike mentioned before again that the AI has lots of settings to
Yep.
where if you try to wreck the AI, they will not wreck unless you like just put it to where the littlest of contact is gonna get them loose. So Mike here just said, "Screw it, I'm gonna give these guys a wreck and show them what's up." So he comes down to hit the 7. Okay, everything's fine right there. Then he comes back down again. Contact again. Nothing. Justin starts to get a little loose. Contact again. Justin's getting loose again. Wobbling again. Contact again. No wrecking. Contact again. Contact again. And finally a spin. Now, again, I don't know if the AI is set to where it's not being like it doesn't want to wreck, which it very well could. It was just kind of funny to me. Like, if that's truly the settings we have, that is very impressive. But this is my biggest gripe here. Even if the AI was set to that, that car should be turning a much
Way
different way
earlier.
than that. Way earlier. And when the wreck ensues, the wreck looks fine. Like the wreck looks like,
Yeah, it doesn't look bad.
Doesn't look bad at all. But what did we see at North Wilkesboro that we saw here? The whole field checked up.
Yes.
Very, very fast.
Nobody does that in NASCAR.
And let alone, let's think about where this wreck is happening, Gary. This is happening out of turn 4.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm no spotter in NASCAR, but if I'm spotting you and you're back there in like 20th place, 21st place, where do you think I'm going to tell you to go right here?
The inside grass.
The inside, let alone the pit stop entry, because if a wreck happens and you go down pit road, you don't get a penalty for that because you are avoiding a crash. The AI clearly does everything in its power to stay above the double yellow line during this wreck. It will not pass in the grass. It will not do anything. And if you pause it when the 94 is in the grass and you see the whole field in the back, the whole field is literally staying 2-3 wide, not moving at all, not going to the grass or trying to avoid this crash or anything like that. Damage model looks fine. I'm not expecting anything crazy out of that for year 1. Okay, anybody who thinks that there's going to be parts
Damage
falling
model
off
is
these
not
cars,
the priority of game 1.
yes, I 100% agree with you on that. Now, crash physics and stuff like that, and the AI checking up for a wreck like that adds to the experience. That is a little bit more of a priority in my opinion. I don't know if that's just a coding thing. But if you ask me, I would like to see the AI actually try to avoid the wreck and try to go down pit road or go take the grass, or, you know, if they even at least pull to the side and just hit the brakes or something in that sort of way. I don't want the whole field just to sit there above the double yellow line and sit in formation. You know what I'm talking about? It looks like a robot.
Yes,
basically.
Definitely.
And you don't want that feeling when you're driving a motorsports game in the year of 2025. But I've spoken enough about that. You tell me what you think about that.
Man, I feel like it's to get what we want is pretty difficult.
Yes.
Before I even dive in, because I have a good opinion on the whole 7 getting spun, but just the AI reaction first was like, I think to say F1 games right now, which is kind of like the few years ago was the pinnacle of motorsport gaming, and even in those games as well, even when there's a crash, sometimes the AI will kind of do really similar things to even what we see here. where they'll either drive straight into a car or they'll stop on the brakes and completely stop their car and not find a way around them until the crash car gets straightened out. So I feel like even if Codemaster struggled with that, then maybe it's just a really difficult thing to pull off. So I feel like we can be a little bit lenient there. But when we talk about the crash itself, and yeah, the 7 getting right hooked, as you mentioned, they told us like the AI settings and whatnot can be changed and how easy a car is going to get turned around. And we weren't playing the game, right? So and they really didn't give us a huge idea of what the AI settings they were running. What my understanding was is it seemed like it was more on the cautious side, is in terms it's going to be hard to wreck people, was my kind of understanding of what we were seeing. So even I feel like personally, even if you were running on like the hardest to wreck AI kind of setting, I feel like that 7 car should be crashing a lot sooner still, because I mean he was just giving it all into his right rear quarter panel, and you can see the 7 car kind of wobbling back and forth but still kind of saving it, and eventually he does turn around, and even when he does turn around, it's almost like that car is still trying really hard to not turn. So that was a bit rough looking, to say the bare minimum. I am hopeful. We don't have any confirmation, but I am hopeful that with AI settings, that's something where I can basically just come up to him, hook him in the right rear, and spin him out immediately, because if that's not there, that's something that obviously needs to be worked on, because it's just kind of like they look really, I guess, stiff is the word I kind of want to use there, which reminds me a lot of the Heat games, is how stiff the AI could be when you were trying to hit them, and that kind of got represented pretty well right there. And then that's something, unfortunately, kind of back in the NASCAR 21 redacted realm, where they actually did pretty well, was when you would hit an AI in the right rear, you'd turn them around no problem, right? So, which is what you expect more from a natural kind of racing situation. I think that's definitely something they need to work on.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's get away from that. Again, like the whole point of this is just to, two content creators here just talking about what they experience, right? It's something that definitely isn't 100% great, but it's definitely something that I feel like the team is identifying, and they will work on that. Whether that's going to be for NASCAR 25 at launch, whether it's going to be an update or a patch during the game, or the next installment, that has yet to be determined. But again, I don't think stuff like that is going to take away players, or should take away players from picking up this game and playing it, because it's going to be a fun racing experience. So I moved forward a little bit here, because I really want to notice this. We talked about two negatives there. We talked about the wreck. We talked about the other thing. Well, let's say two negatives turn into a positive here, okay? I want to watch this last lap here again of Mike driving here at Daytona. Let's pay attention to the AI here on the last lap. So right now, this is your typical plate racing here. 2x2, the leaders leading the bottom here, and now it's time to play defense, right? These guys are going to come at you and do what they can to get the lead. So Mike has a little bit of a gap here in the middle of 1 and 2. He's going to come down the back straightaway. This is where the attack is going to happen. I want you to watch how aggressive the AI gets here on this last lap, okay? So he goes down to block the 48, okay? The 48's not trying to bump draft the 94 right now, because he's trying to win this race. Creed gives the 48 a push. He goes up to block. 3 wide here with Carson Quaffle and Ross Chastain on the bottom. Now he's got to block 3 wide through 3 and 4. He blocks the middle. Chastain has a little bit of a run here, trying to side drive. He goes back to the bottom of Quaffle. Jesse Love's trying to peek through there 3 wide, and right at the line, wins the race in almost a 3 wide finish. Now, I noticed this. It seems as though the AI does have some intelligence there with how the race pans out, because the AI definitely got more aggressive there as the white flag came out.
Yeah, it looked really good, honestly. Right at the end, that final lap, it looked intense, and I think that's what, when you're doing super speedway racing in a NASCAR game, and for the single player experience as a player, I want to feel, like the intensity that a real life driver is feeling of having, if you're in this instance leading the pack, you're having to cover the lanes, and right at the end of the race, everyone's throwing everything they have at you, trying to build the momentum, try to pass you. And I felt like that was represented pretty well in that game clip. So I thought that was really cool to see that they kind of, I feel like they really got it right there. And the middle was coming, the top, the bottom, and obviously Mike was able to hold them all off. And keep in mind as well, he's running on 100 difficulty, so he's not even running on the most difficult option. Like, they could have, in 105, very well had more momentum coming, and you would have maybe had to make a choice between which lane you're going to choose and hope that you're maybe in the benefiting lane coming to the tri-oval. I thought that looked really, really slick, and like that was one of those moments where I'm like, I can't wait to have my actual hands on a controller and experience that for myself and have to make those decisions of like, okay, which lane am I going to choose now, and hope that it works out.
Yeah, and then after the race, obviously you celebrate that win, and this is where I think some players might
5
be
seconds.
Yeah, 5 seconds of celebration. That's all you get.
You win the Daytona 500, and that's what you see.
Go back to the menu. Yeah, like you win the 500. That's it. Go back to the menu. Good job. Now move on to the next race. No, but in all seriousness, no. At least we do have somewhat of a victory. But here is my biggest
no burnouts either
about this. Right? There's no burnouts. Which again, I'm not going to sit here and complain about that for 10 minutes in a row. However, I feel like burnouts isn't necessarily a very hard thing to put into a game.
And I think it's almost mandatory. I mean, that is a staple part of every NASCAR victory.
Yes, you want to burn it down. I mean, in my NASCAR Heat 5 streams, whenever we win a career mode race, like, my chat goes nuts. They want me to burn it down. We blast the music on Spotify, and we have.
I do it in my career mode videos. It's like literally like the most exciting part of the video is the burnout, and I'm like, yeah. So I saw that wasn't there. I'm like, dang, like you basically, I know, like I feel like we were preaching about whole getting the core and the foundation right, which I think they've done, but to me, like, burnouts is a core thing that should be there no matter what. So I was a bit surprised to see that we are missing such a simple and cool feature for the players.
Did you also know that Victory Lane was not actually in Victory Lane?
I did not. Where was it?
On pit road.
Let me. Oh, you're right.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I see it now. No.
I noticed that, and I was like, I at the very least, I told myself, we could have at least gotten the car in the grass or something.
I'm pulling the pit road to celebrate, baby.
Yeah, like you win the race, and it seems like the car is parked where you would roll off for qualifying almost, and your crew just surrounds your car. I mean, it's close to Days of Thunder at least, but yeah, it's
that needs work.
That needs
a lot of work.
Listen, again, I'm going to sit here and say, again, that's not going to make me not play the game. Okay, I feel like I've had to say this 10 times already. But you got to have Victory Lane. You got to have I don't care if it's just the most base Victory Lane ever. I don't care if it's the most simple burnouts ever. Just give me an option where I can hit the A button, put the logo for the race in the top left corner like NASCAR Heat 5 had, and just let me do some burnouts. That's all I could ask for. Just something as simple as that can make a big difference for the common casual player, right? If you win the Daytona 500 on 105 difficulty, your first time winning that race, you want to burn that thing down and have fun, and your Victory Lane is literally sitting on the end of pit road right near Anthony Alfredo's pit box with your crew just standing in a circle and clapping for you.
Good job, buddy.
It doesn't really get the job done.
No.
Again, is this the final build of that? I don't know. Okay. But if iRacing Studios does see this video and they see that we are addressing this issue, like I said, even if that was just part of a patch update at launch or even a month or two in, I think the fans would really appreciate that. Because
I think that should be high on the list.
That should be high on the list for anything that is a patch or update for this game's life cycle, because that just gives the player more life to the game, right? I mean, just imagine, Gary, you and I race a bunch. Like, we win races on our career modes. We win online races. We're used to winning. Okay, we do it. But for someone who might be new into NASCAR gaming and want to pick this up and maybe doesn't have the easiest time picking it up and playing, maybe it takes them a month or two to win their first race. And when they finally do it, they get this emotion of, I finally did it. I'm gonna burn this thing down. Well, there's no burnouts. All right. Well, at least I can go to victory lane. You're on pit road. Okay. Well, that's it. So, yeah, I really hope that's not the final say as to how you celebrate in this game. If you just give me the most simple burnout celebration and just give me a nice solid victory lane like NASCAR Thunder 2004, Thunder 2003, where there's just a pedestal and I'm holding the trophy and the race logos behind me with my crew clapping. I don't care. That's fine. I'll take that. So again, doesn't take away from me playing the game, but for a player that wants the full racing experience, that's not what happens. So I really hope that is something that can be added on later.
Yes, I agree. I think the biggest takeaway is basically, there is a very minimal presentation difference between finishing 40th and winning the race. Winning is a big deal. And a 5-second climb out on pit road out of your car and pump your fist one time is pretty lackluster. And as we keep talking about the Daytona 500, I win the greatest race in the United States of America, in my opinion. And
I'm just gonna fist pump silently.
Woo, okay, yeah, all right. Going home now for 5 seconds. Let's go take a look at the race results, and back to the main menu I go, or continue the career mode season.
God.
So. That's frustrating, but I feel like that was another thing that could have been worked in. The core things is that something that should have been really built up more. Personally, I'd be surprised if we saw that change before launch, but at least the burnout side, I think that's something they really should consider trying to update into the game and not wait until NASCAR 26. And I think probably just about, I would say barely, minimum 90% of players are probably going to be asking for that same exact thing. So, but yeah, I mean,
we're trying to help them. We don't want people to hate on them. We're trying to help them here. We're trying to show them, like, hey, you might want to add this. We're just trying to help you out here.
It would be a good decision.
It would be a very good decision.
A lot of our nitpicks, though, are stuff outside of the AI and the crashes. A lot of our nitpicks are mainly like presentation and stuff. So I think that's a decent sign of where we're going. But still, I mean, we can do better, boys. Let's do better.
And I'm sure they will.
I have confidence.
And speaking of doing better, how about Lime Rock, dude? I mean, seriously, I loved the Lime Rock gameplay. Do I love how close the ARCA field was? No. Just based off your typical
It should be 30 seconds
ARCA
apart
experience.
after one lap.
Okay, I will say maybe not that far behind for the game's sake, but yes, I don't think the AI should be this close for a 34 car ARCA field. But I understand because you don't want. I get it. You don't want some cars to feel like that they're the bottom of the barrel. But at the same time, you want to shoot for that realism. It's a tough area there. But dude, Lime Rock looks fun. It looks
road course racing driving looks fun.
It looks great. This dude lost it on the uphill, hit the wall. I just saw the part where he went up on the uphill, and you could literally feel the car go up in the air. You could feel it. Like, that is fun.
Like, you're feeling the track, right? You're feeling the cars roll around and the suspension, like all those kind of things. Like you can see it happening in the cockpit view that he's using.
Yeah, and people may watch the Lime Rock gameplay and be like, like nobody's passing each other and all that stuff. Well, it is Lime Rock. This isn't a 3-wide road course type of track. This is more about hitting your lines and outbraking the car in front of you and taking that spot away from them. That's what Lime Rock is all about. Most road courses in general. But you're not going to see a lot of passing at Lime Rock. And we saw that earlier when the trucks ran here and when ARCA ran here earlier in the season. But it blows me away. Like, the track looks great. The background looked great with all the trees in the background. I mean, it just looks like a solid time.
The scenery is great.
The scenery is beautiful, and they nailed that. And I don't think we ever worried about the scenery being a problem, but I just cannot fathom. I cannot go away from the fact about talking about how Lime Rock looks and how the cars actually feel like they are in the track, and you actually have to drive the track. You're not driving the slider. You're not driving the mechanics. You're driving the track. and I want to talk about this too. We talked about the damage earlier, but I want to talk about the crash physics for a brief second at Lime
Mm-hmm.
Rock. You saw a moment where Mike went uphill and lost control of the car. I want to give props to iRacing here because the crash physics actually looked pretty good here. He loses control and hits that inside wall. The car kind of rebounds up in the air a little bit as it absorbs that hit. But not only that, it sends the car in the motion it's supposed to go into. If you kind of watch this again, he loses control. He's going to hit this wall. The car's going to rebound as it should because it's not a soft wall, right? It's a guardrail wall. So that car is going to carry that momentum, and he comes back up the track across and hits that wall on the inside. And the wreck actually looks really realistic right there. Don't know if he has damage off because I don't even see the hood crinkled up right there.
It's
I
on.
hope the damage is off. Oh, what were you saying?
Damage is on. So the arrow light comes on, and then in the caution menu, you see the radiator's at 0%, and he's got 32 seconds of damage repair. So damage is on, and unfortunately, that's the one, we're not seeing, in that ARCA car, that's a way softer car than the next gen, for example. That's where, in the cockpit view, with that kind of hit, I certainly expect to see, the hood come up, and the whole front end's kind of, coming up and crumpled in.
Oh, I better see smoke coming out of the hood at that point. There better be smoke spewing out. My hood better be, to the point where I could barely see out of the windshield at that point.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it looks like damage is definitely on. Damage, 32 seconds of damage, 4 tire repair, 2 cans of fuel. If you actually have that happen in the race with no caution, you are probably screwed. And your car is not going to drive the way like it was with all the damage fixed. But again, we talked about this. The damage model definitely seems to be maybe the biggest negative so far. Is that damage model. Now, like I mentioned before, that doesn't make or break the game for us per se, because we do more driving rather than wrecking. At least I do. Maybe Gary wrecks a lot.
I wreck a lot. I try to race and wreck half the time anyways.
I wreck a bunch too. No, but we can talk about that because there's not really a whole lot to talk about the Lime Rock gameplay. It looks pretty fluid in my opinion. The AI definitely doesn't get as spread as the ARCA field usually does. Again, I think that's just more of a decision on them. Do we really want to make guys feel like they're at the bottom of the barrel in the ARCA series? Do we want to make the field more compact? And so again, I don't know. But again, it looks good. But that damage model, again, definitely might be the biggest question mark in regards to NASCAR 25 from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, I had one AI nitpick from here was just
Let's hear it.
The straightaways. They follow the exact same line. So it just, obviously in a road course on a straightaway, unless you're going for a pass, there's only one lane to run. But, they're all running to the centimeter the exact same lane. And that's just right. One little thing that kind of kills the immersion a little bit. But then you notice in the corners, they do actually make moves and they do get side by side and they do race. So it's kind of like a 50-50 there. There's there's that little issue with the straightaways, but in the corners, they're actually racing each other. So that's good to see. NASCAR games have always struggled with road course racing AI. I feel like it's something we're always going to struggle with, but I feel like here's a decent balance of that straightaway thing could hopefully be fixed, but they're at least going into the corners. They're going side by side. There is still some passing. So that was my only little nitpick there. Outside of that, I mean, we talked about the driving. It looks fun, and this is just on a controller. Imagine a wheel. It's probably going to be even more fun, but just controller, it looks pretty awesome to be actually wheeling around a road course. It's not easy to drive. The throttle control is still there. You're probably going to have to be careful on your brake inputs as well into some of these corners. Expanding upon Lime Rock. Can you imagine Chicago street course or something, racing that one? That's going to be epic, dude. And I'm curious to see how the AI would be there, though. That'd be interesting. But it looks good.
Great.
It looks good.
It looks great. Yeah, and you mentioned about how AI at road courses. Yeah, it looks fun. It looks fun.
That's the main thing.
That's the main thing, right? Just kind of hunkering down on the realism a little bit with the driving physics and all that. I know damage models, smoke coming from under the car. That's going to be something that the very casual player might be like, well, that doesn't happen. Which clearly, yes, that doesn't happen, but it's things like that that can get fixed, right? I would much rather have a NASCAR game that has the driving down and the realism and all that, the handling of the cars, than a car that just feels like a complete arcade brick of a box. That as soon as you touch the wall, your whole left side is gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just yeah, it's just kind of nailing down
Yeah.
what they said they wanted to do for year one was
Yep.
to get the base down, get the driving down, get the realism down, and then as year two, year three goes on with their 3-year, 5-year plan that they talked about a couple times, you're going to see a lot of things added that you saw in NASCAR 25 that you wanted, and you're going to see it added, and you're going to be like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. And it's going to be a great day for sure. But you mentioned about the road course AI. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that about them making moves in the corners, but not in the straightaways. That has something to do probably with the AI. Maybe they just haven't hunkered it down with them being aggressive with heavy braking, maybe, which could be a bit of a trickier
That
thing.
could very well be it.
That could be where maybe they haven't specialized with this AI yet, getting down where some of these guys are more on the heavy braking side, being on the aggressive side and everything. So maybe some of that can change over the course of time. We'll have to see what happens there. But yeah, that pretty much sums up everything I think Gary and I really wanted to talk about with the NASCAR 25 gameplay. Again, I just want to say before we have our closing thoughts, a huge shout out to iRacing Studios, everyone involved with iRacing, Matt Lewis, Mike, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting us to this. Thank you so much for having us be a part of such a core group of content creators that were able to be invited to this experience and to ask you all questions about the game. I think I can speak for Gary and I. We're both very excited about NASCAR 25, and we're excited for what the future holds as well. But Gary, your closing thoughts on what we discussed today, what we kind of rehashed, what we watched on the initial gameplay. Yeah, tell me what you feel about it, man.
It's a bit lengthy, but bear with me.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Overall, first part, just thoughts on what I saw, and coming back and doing this deep dive video with you actually helped me even see more than I originally saw. So I think it's gonna be a great watch for everybody. Is just, the game looks, and it's not. The game is not incredible. The game is far from incredible. The game is far from bad. It's almost like right in the middle. It's a solid game, and that's exactly what they preached to us that they were coming out in their first game with, was just a solid game. The foundation's right. It's where it needs to be to allow us to build upon this game going forward. And with the gameplay that we've got, I feel like they did so far exactly that. The gameplay looks good. The controller play looks good. The car handling, the physics look very solid. Of course, we talked about what we liked with the throttle control. You can overdrive corners and you pay the price for that. On the braking, the AI, like I said, once again, it's right in the middle. It's not incredible. It's not bad. It's solid. A lot of the things in the game are solid, and I feel like we're just in a really I feel like the word of the day here, solid. We're in a solid spot going forward and setting ourselves up well for, I think, the future of NASCAR gaming. And there's a lot of things that you and I talked about we want to see added or improved. I think presentation needs to be built upon. One little other thing about presentation that I think was a missed opportunity that I just thought about, and I keep always forgetting to bring this up, is when the race is starting and they pull out of the pit lane, they go straight to the race to go green. I think there's a missed opportunity to go through the grid right there of cars in a cinematic shot on the pace lap and then go to green. I think that's something they should bring in. But and to kind of cap it all off, I think they've been taking some heat from a lot of people saying, well, the game's lacking features compared to NASCAR 21 Redacted and stuff like that. And all I have to say to that is, yes, NASCAR 21, did they really have more features? I don't know. They had, in their game, they had a career mode where you could race for other teams, which we can't in this game. They had a silly season that was pretty limited, but that was pretty well all the game had to offer outside of multiplayer, and the game didn't work. Okay, the AI sucked. Everything was broken in this game. And you're telling me that you would rather have a game with more features maybe and it not work, and versus a game with less features and it works properly to actually allow us to have the foundation to build a great series going forward? I mean, Joey, when's the last time we had a first NASCAR iteration game launched from a studio that put in the effort to include all the top series and then proceed to add a fourth series of a ARCA car. I mean, I can't think of the last time that's happened. Yeah, never. So to tell me that they're lacking features, I'm like, they're doing more already than we've seen previously. I think, of course, there's some good kind of comments about career mode. I think it is a bit of a miss that you're forced to own a team in career mode versus driving for other teams. I think they both should be there. But overall, I mean, it's just, yeah, it feels like a very baseless and senseless approach to say, well, the game is lacking some features, therefore it sucks. When no, I could not disagree more with those comments, but unfortunately we do see them quite a bit. But yeah, that's kind of, yeah, I think I've summed up my thoughts.
Yeah, great thoughts, and I'll kind of piggyback on what you said there. I think NASCAR 25 is going to be, like I mentioned before in my tweet, the start of a very beautiful friendship with casual gamers, competitive racers, or competitive gamers, content creators as well. I have personally, I've known Matt for a lot of years. I first met him during the NASCAR Heat days when I ran on the esports side, and he has always had that passion that any NASCAR fan wishes they had in a NASCAR game developer or producer. And when Matt has told us, right, that things are coming, right, we're not getting these answers of, oh, TBD, TBD, TBD. We're getting, it's coming. We promise. Like, it's going to happen. We're going to get this feature. We're going to get that feature, but you just got to give us some time. And those are the answers that separate from what you mentioned before earlier, a business protocol or a passion protocol. And, with these video games are made, there are time frames that they have to get stuff done.
Yep, tight time frames.
With these contracts. NASCAR is NASCAR, but they have a firm say in when they want this game out, by a certain point. And that's why I really think we're going to see a progressive climb to the ultimate NASCAR gaming experience that everybody has dreamed of. And I think NASCAR 25 has taken a huge leap forward than a lot of people expected in year one. But we're also going to see some things that the fans are going to say, well, I wish that was in there, or I wish that was fixed. Well, they always say, what's that old saying they used to always say? Something about life is tough. I can't remember the saying now. I was trying to pull like maybe a dad joke, since I'm going to be a dad later this year. It didn't work out, but I think from what we saw so far, we can have a lot of trust in iRacing, right? We I think can confidently have a lot of trust in iRacing Studios, the dev team behind this, for only year one to have a game that looks very nice, drives very nice, and has room for improvement. But it's good to have games that have room for improvement, because that gives the devs and the team stuff to work on and to get better. There are some things that we saw in this deep dive that maybe could get fixed during this game's life cycle. Maybe it won't happen until NASCAR 26/27. I don't know when it's going to happen. But rest assured, I think, long story short, I think all gamers, from casual to competitive to content creators to streamers, are going to have a great time with this game. I know Gary and I are going to have a lot of fun with it too, and we'll probably hit the track a couple of times together. I think it's going to be a great time.
I agree. I also just want to say thank you as well again to the iRacing Studios team of everyone, and as well the promo team. They're all bringing us in to even have this opportunity, because they didn't need to give us this opportunity. And they sat us down and gave us a full hour of pure raw gameplay. Things could have went wrong with the game. We would have seen it happen in that moment. They were willing to take the live moment of them playing the game in front of us and showcase it to us. And they did a really excellent job with that. So huge shout out to them.
Absolutely. Huge shout out again, once again, to iRacing Studios and everyone involved. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm Sloppy Joe. He is Gary Owen, a.k.a. Going. He's going all right. And we are going to the official launch of NASCAR 25 on October 14th. Pre-order at NASCAR25.com. Thank you all so much for watching this deep dive. And let us know in the comments below, how do you feel about NASCAR 25? Thank you all for watching. We'll see you guys on the track in just a couple of weeks.